Hey, welcome to Xbox. I'm so glad you've decided to join what I think is the best gaming platform there is, and in this video, I'm going to help walk you through and explain how to navigate settings on your console, get an understanding of where your bearings are when it comes to things, and help set you up for success while you're getting started out. Now, once you sign into your Xbox account, you're going to be navigated to the dashboard, and if you need a full walkthrough of your dashboard, go check out my beginner's guide for that over on my channel. Now, the two ways you can get to your settings is if you navigate with your controller to the top 5 icons up here, settings is going to appear on the far right over here. Clicking this will take you to settings. Additionally, you can hit the Xbox logo button on your console, navigating to the side tab here, go to profile and systems and navigate down to settings, and this will get you set up for settings. Now with that information, we'll go ahead and get navigated into the settings portion. Now that we've navigated into settings using one of the two options I showed you, I'm going to have my camera turned off for this next portion to help it make it easier for you to see what's on screen. Now there's going to be 6 distinct sections of the Xbox settings portion of your console that we're going to walk through today, starting off with general. But before we dive into general, the way to know what account you're signed into is always going to show in the top left portion of your settings section. You can't click on anything up there, but it lets you know who you're signed into, especially when you get into the account, preferences, and accessibility sections here. Now, starting off with the general portion, the first section you're going to see here is your network settings. Clicking this section here is going to take you to where you can see and manage how your console is connected to the internet. Now, I'm going to go into super detail here, as this can be very complicated to get set up if you're not familiar, but you'll have various sections here for you, such as managing your wireless networks. If you are connected with a wired connection, as you can see I am on my right side, it'll distinguish whether you're wired or wireless, but that manage wireless network section is still going to be where you go to connect things up. Next, you're going to be able to test your network connection simply by going here, and it's going to let you know if your connection is good. This just tells you a flat out you're good to go, or if you have issues, things you might want to look in and fix. You can also test remote play here, which is a feature where you can play your console remotely. This is going to be more beneficial if you're doing like gaming through different devices, or maybe with the Xbox ROG Ally, some features that can integrate there. Next, you're going to have the test network speed and statistics. Now, if you ever want to figure out how good your connection is, this is going to be what you're going to want to run on your console. So if you ever experience things like lag or delays or very slow download speeds, run this test, and what you're going to be looking for is a couple key notes, mainly being your wireless strength and if you have any packet loss showing. Now, while this test is running, it can take a few moments, but we'll let this finish while we get this connected for us, and this is going to give us an overall health of the connection of our internet. Now, it's not an indication whether it goes really fast or it goes really slow. It's just going to vary, and it may not show exact speeds on how your internet is personally based on your service provider, because your internet speeds are going to be split across devices in your household. But again, the key things you want to look for is zero packet loss, and if you have a wireless connection, making sure that wireless strength is 100%. Things you can do to improve that if you see these numbers not showing perfect results you want are things like resetting your router and modem, or going in and maybe calling your internet provider and asking them to reset your devices. Sometimes they just need a reset to clear cache, and that's something they will usually have to assist you with. But that's going to cover that detailed network and statistics. You can also test your multiplayer connection. This is going to do a similar checking network test that we did. Test your NAT type. You can also go offline if you just don't want your console connected to the internet. You can do that. Keep in mind, there's tons of games that are going to require you to be connected to online. So if you go offline, those games are not going to work for you, as well as if you have digital games that you're maybe sharing through a friend's account. If you go offline, you won't be able to access any of those unless you're signed into that specific account only. You can also check out things like your bandwidth usage and go into advanced settings here and get much more detailed information about your internet provider. but I'm going to blur out what you see on my screen. That way it doesn't share any of my personal information, but it's what these various settings here are going to be for you. The next section where you're going to see is TV and display options. This is going to give you the opportunity to calibrate your console to the device you have. One thing you can always do is do things like the 4K TV details tab here. If you click on this, it's going to show you what your monitor you're currently playing on can support and give you ideas of if it's compatible with things like 4K, 120 hertz, and so on. As you see right now, I'm on a computer monitor, so it's not going to give me quite everything I want versus when I'm normally on a television. We can back out here, and again, this is just other modes and things you can set up for that. You'll have volume and audio output. This is where you can adjust if things are coming through like your headset, surround sound speakers, and you can test all of that here. Personalization, this is going to be where you can customize things like your guide, dashboard, and a couple accessory things here. So if you see where I can customize my guide, this is that side tab that we were organizing here. You can rearrange that also here. Instead of just being through the side tab itself. Games and apps, you can go into here and customize preset settings that you want. A lot of this is going to be just preference work for what you want to do, but you can go ahead and do things here. You can also change things like the color and theme, profile, background, the way your console looks, and set the My Home Xbox feature so anybody who is on your console could access your digital library and play those games with you. Now, online safety and family is going to be where parents can go in and set up things like parental settings, maybe for child accounts and other things. I don't really have those settings on mine, so I'm not going to dive into these, but that's going to be the section here for you. You can also set up things like power options, but similar to if you want your console to turn off, whether you aren't using it or it doesn't detect activity after so long. These are where you can do customized settings here. You can also enable things like energy saving, where your console will shut down or does updates and things to make it more economically and eco-friendly, help the planet. So it's a way to do your part in a very, very small way, but it is a cool feature. That's going to cover general. Next, we can go to account. I'm not going to click into any of these tabs because I don't want to share my personal information with you guys, but I'll give you an overview. Sign in, security, and PIN. This is where you can set up things like a private PIN code, or you can make it so your account automatically signs into a controller when that controller powers on, things like that. You can link social accounts such as Discord if you want to be able to talk to your friends on Discord straight through your Xbox and other things like that. Privacy and online safety, where you can set things like how your friends list and stuff appears to others who can see like your games and stuff. You can set up content restrictions for things that you would like to with regards to parental things or things you don't want to see. So you don't want to see like mature games. You can block that if you'd like. You can manage your payment and billing here. Additionally, your subscriptions that you have, set up any family settings you need. Maybe you have child accounts, or remove accounts straight from your console if you would like to. The next tab we're going to have here is systems. Console info is going to give you a detailed information such as your console's serial number and specifics there. You might need this information when you contact Xbox support, and that's going to be this information section for you. Storage devices is going to be a section here where you can manage the different storage devices, delete and free up content. I covered some of this in the My Games and Apps video, so go check that one out if you'd like to learn more there. You can also do things when we go back into systems. You can make sure your games and stuff are updated, restrict access to certain areas, adjust your language and location. So if you wanted to adjust something to say New Zealand to play a game early, not saying that I do that or don't do that, but it's an option there for you based on certain game releases. You can also restart your console because if you make any changes here, it requires a console reset. You can back up and transfer your cloud saves and data here, and additionally change the time zone and that your clock's set to. I think you can also do military time if you'd like. Yeah, a 24-hour clock, so if that's a preference for you, and you can view that here. The next section we'll cover is devices and connections. Controllers and headsets is going to basically be what controllers and headsets do you have connected to your console right now, and that's going to establish that for you. The next area we're going to talk about is media remote. Not usually used as often, but if you like to do things like your headset and stuff, that's going to be a feature here. Remote features is going to cover things like when remotes are set up, installing new games remotely, if you want to be able to download games from like a computer to install directly onto your console. You can do stuff like there, as well as enabling things like streaming or content through the console. If you're doing streaming features, usually kind of more through things like Twitch and stuff, or if you're game streaming as well. Some of those features can be here. If you have disc-based stuff, if you want to have your games play automatically when you put a disc in, or if you want them to wait until you're ready, or have them just instantly start right away when you turn your console on. There's digital assistance. If you ever hear your console narrating stuff for you or doing things like that, you can come into these areas and tweak some stuff. Or if you have like Alexa or a Google Assistant you want to establish with your console, you can also do that as well. You can manage Blu-ray settings here, and if you use a mouse connected to your console, there's some games that might feature accessibilities for that. The next section is going to be preferences. This is going to be where you set up how you want notifications and other settings to appear. So if you click into this, you can break it down to Xbox, apps, default, and notification timing based on, it's those little toast pop-ups like your friends hopped online, or a game's updating, or somebody sent you a message. That's going to be where you manage those. You can do idle options here where your console can show you like helpful hints and stuff. They're the things that kind of come when your console dims and it pops from the side and gives you information. You can kind of turn those and enable those on and off, or if your screen idle, so you don't want to potentially worry about burning an image into your monitor or TV, depending on if you have an older TV, that can be a feature for. Capture and share, this is if you want to record game clips. The way you can kind of record those, if you didn't know, is when you open up your Xbox settings and you're in a game and something cool happened, I believe you'll be able to hit the X button once you open this, and it's going to record a game clip, and that's where you can manage those. You can set up a break reminder. I would see this being mainly used for people who struggle with losing track of how much time they're into games. You could put a break reminder where it'll pop up a notification saying, hey, take a break. Or maybe you have kids you want to enable this for that tell them that they've been gaming a little too long. You also can manage your activity feed here. Doesn't do a lot. There used to be more settings here, but this is just enables if you want to share your achievements automatically to like your friends feed and stuff. And then accessibility. Accessibility is going to be a really good area if you have any accessibility needs. This is going to be if you have things like vision issues, color blindness, trouble reading, any of that stuff is going to be encapsulated here. Now, I will note there are times that you might hear your Xbox talking to you when you navigate sections. Like if I go here, it would say controller, magnifier, etc. The narrator is where you can go turn that off. If you need to get that fixed for you, you can also just put up color filters and audio settings and captioning and really everything you need to do to make your Xbox be more accessible for you. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the settings on your console. If you want to see how to navigate other sections like My Games and Apps or the Xbox Store on your console and various things like that, be sure to hit that subscribe button and check out my channel. I put up daily videos showcasing a wide variety of Xbox gameplay videos, so if you want to check those out as well. With that being said, I appreciate your time. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you on Xbox. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed diving into yet another adventure on Xbox. If you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button to join the channel and become part of the crew for daily Xbox gameplays, Game Pass gems, and new releases. Check out that top video over there for my latest upload, or the bottom one over here for one that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy.